Guys, welcome to today's training. This is on Metronet on how to sign somebody up for Metronet service. So first of all, we're going to give you guys a link where you can log in. You're going to have your own login. It's going to be a private login, which is how it will associate the sale with you and your account. So I have my login. I'm just going to go ahead and log in here. And then it's going to take us to this page that's going to be something that we won't use as much. So this is this page where it says search. This is what it immediately takes us to. This is only if you have an account where you've already signed somebody up and you're trying to look up the account. So maybe somebody wants to switch from like the 1 gig to the 2 gig service or something. Then yeah, you could you're going to have a subscriber ID after you sign somebody up. It's a 7 or 8 digit number or something like that. So you can search them, or you could search with their phone number, and then you click search, and that's how you'd be able to edit an account that's already an existing account. But for the most part, we won't be using this too much, so I always just recommend clicking new, and this is how we'll actually sign somebody up. So make sure to always have it under the residential. That's always the first one that comes up. Student, there's technically student pricing that's a little bit less, but it's not worth doing that because we get paid, and we would pay you guys literally like less than half of what a normal residential account would be. So 100% of the stuff that we sell is always under the residential. So first of all, what I always recommend doing, so put their name in there. I'm going to put mine, and then from there, I do not recommend clicking on date of birth yet, because some people are a little bit weary about giving out their date of birth right away before they've really even talked to you too much. So I recommend skipping this step for now, but I'm just going to go ahead and put a address in there. So I'm just going to do one that I know is not a current customer. So as you're typing it up, you're going to see it's going to pop down. So go ahead and click on that. Here you're going to always have these little things that pop up. The only time you really have to care about them if it's like highlighted red, and then it's like a mandatory thing, but I'm just going to ignore those. I'm going to click more than a year, so the customer has been there for more than a year. In Metronet's algorithm, it just makes sense. Always click more than a year, never click less than a year, because otherwise it might not end up working out. I'll explain that here in just a second. And then for email address, I'm just going to go ahead and put a fake one for now, because I'm not going to actually sign this person up. So get their email. So you got, yeah, and then we'll move on. Let's get the phone number. I'll just put my phone number in there. Click allow texting, unless it's like a home phone number, in which case they wouldn't be able to have texting. And then if they have a house number, you could put that in there. For the most part, I just skip that one. And then down here where it says contacted, this is the way that we were able to get a hold of them. So rather than customer calling us, change it to walk-in, because we sold them at their door. So the rest of these are not important. So the reason that I recommend getting the date of birth last is because people are going to be more inclined to give you the date of birth after you've kind of got some basic information like their name, their address, and then their email and their phone number. And then I recommend going back here, because the reason we need to get a valid date of birth is because Metronet does a soft credit check. So it's not going to hurt their credit score or anything like that, but we do need to get their date of birth just to make sure they've been paying the utilities. They do a soft credit check. So for here, I'm just going to put some random date of birth. I'm going to hit submit, and this is not going to go through. And I'll show you why. It's because, my name is not associated with this address, as well as the date of birth. So this screen right here will pop up if, number one, if it seems like, usually it's the most common reason this screen pops up is if you put in their information wrong, you put their date of birth in wrong, they refused to give you their date of birth, or whatever it might be, in which case you do have to get the last 4 of their social. This is going to pop up less than 5% of the time. If someone isn't willing to give you their social security, the last 4 of their social, then that's totally fine, but you'll just need to click decline here, which is what I'm going to do, because it's not going to, it's just not going to be worth putting in the last 4 of my social, because it's not tied to that email address, or that home address. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit decline. Again, this is rarely going to pop up. Usually it's just going to go to this upcoming screen that you're going to see here in just a second. And it usually takes like 10 seconds or so to redirect. Okay, cool. So what we can see here, here's my name. This would normally just be the customer's name. So this is the customer's name, and you can see it's highlighted in purple. This means that they didn't pass the soft credit check. So this will happen less than 10% of the time that they don't pass the credit check. And it's totally fine. The only caveat is, I'll explain it in a little bit, but they will have to pay for the first month up front. And they'll also have to pay for the installation fee. So, but I'll get to that in just a second. Normally, if it's someone 90% of the time that has passed the credit check, then this will be highlighted in this will just be black, just normal black, kind of like over here, edit services. So that's how you can know if they passed the credit check or not. So here's what we do. So you can see here, there's a $75 fee. This is the installation fee. So all customers do have to pay an installation fee. And at this time in September of 2024, which is the time that I'm making this video, this is what it currently is. It might go up at some point. It might we might be able to waive it at some point. But in the meantime, for the last long time, we always have to charge the installation fee. So let me just show you guys everything that you need to know, though, in order to sign someone up. It'll normally take about 2 minutes to do this from start to finish once you're feeling a little bit more comfortable with it. But there are a number of different plans that the customer can get at this address. For the most part, about 96% of what we sell is the 1 gig service. So this is the one that we get most people onto. They can get higher plans and they could get lower plans. You'll see in your pay scale, you're going to be paid quite a bit less with these two, the 500 meg and the 100 meg. And then the 1 gig, 2 gig, 5 gig, this is our bread and butter. This is what we get pretty much everybody onto. So for the most part, I'm going to focus on this one. So I'm going to click 1 gig. The customer wants a 1 gig service. You can see over here that it costs 89 bucks. I'll explain that in just a second. We can technically upsell them if we want to get them some whole home Wi-Fi, which is just some Wi-Fi mesh extenders. Most people don't need this unless they have a pretty big house or unless they request it from you, in which case, yeah, you could click that. It's just going to cost a little bit extra. I'm not going to do that on this call, though. So we're just going to hit no. And then you can see this box right here, or this little notepad looking thing. This is what we want to click on because we do get to give out a promo for it. So if you click right here, I'll show you. If you click there, it's just going to pull up something different, which is not, this is just like the broadband fax that all of the different internet service providers have to provide this kind of thing. But don't worry about that for now. So just click on right here. Make sure you click that. And then here's how we can put in the promo. So what it's going to be is rather than $89.95 for the first year, it's going to be $49.95 plus some taxes. And then the next year it's going to go up by 10 bucks, and the next year by 10 bucks, and so forth until it gets to the final $89.95 price. So we're just going to go ahead and do that because we can give out the promo to everybody. So now it changed it over here to $49.95 rather than the $89.95. There's a couple other things. If they want a static IP address, they can. If the only time you're going to get that is if they tell you that they want it. It happens about 1% of the time. So you can pretty much ignore that. You can ignore these other things, premium Wi-Fi router. It already comes with a normal router. So I would honestly just keep everything the same. I wouldn't even touch anything here. So we got that. You can check at the bottom. Whatever's highlighted, this is what you currently have selected. So sometimes if you accidentally forgot to select the promo here, sometimes you could go down and be like, oh shoot, it says $89.95, not $49.95. So from there, here's where we go next. If the customer does want a home phone, that's totally fine. Click on the phone tab, click Fiber Phone Unlimited. It says 20 bucks. I'll show you, we can do a slight discount there. Here you just click acknowledge. This is just so that Metronet can have the 911 service acknowledgement. Battery backup, never click this unless the customer absolutely wants it. I don't even know how much it is extra. It's a couple $100 probably to get that set up as a one-time thing. I wouldn't worry about that. We don't get paid any extra on those, so just click no. Then you want to port it over. 99.9% of people want to port their existing home phone number if they have a home phone, because usually they're an old person who really has had that number for like 20, 30, 40 years. They want to keep that. So always click port, and then you'll put their number in there. We'll just do some random number. Let's see. Yep, cool. And then that's pretty much all you need to do, except over here, go ahead and click this again. We'll be able to have a slight promo. Okay, I guess it wants, let's see. I guess we can't get that. So I'm going to just put a different number. We'll just do that. Usually that doesn't happen. Usually we don't have that error. So I think we should be good. Okay, and then from here, we're going to change it to 15 bucks for the first year per month for the home phone rather than 20. So slight discount, $5 off. Now it's 15 for that. And then don't worry about doing anything else. I mean, if you want to click voicemail, you can. Okay, so from there, then we go back up to here. This is miscellaneous. This is the only other thing we need to worry about. So keep in mind, if the customer wants to set up auto pay, don't click this right now, because otherwise you're going to need to put in like their bank account number and stuff. So you don't want to do that, because we don't usually ever collect that kind of information from customers. So they just tell them if they do set up auto pay, they will get a $25 credit towards their account. But over here, we can give out a free month. So for everybody, just go ahead and hand out the free month. And then that way the first month will be free unless they don't pass the credit check. So in this case, the customer didn't pass the credit check. So we can still give them a free month, but it'll be on their second month of service. So they will have to pay their first month of service plus the installation fee. And I'll tell you about that. So yeah, you can see right here, this is what it's going to be. So because they have the home phone, which is 15 bucks extra, that's why it's showing it's 77 bucks for the monthly charge, and that's after taxes and everything. So that's the internet 1 gig plus the home phone. That's the price it is there. And then it does have the installation fee of 75 bucks plus tax added. So for this customer, because they didn't pass the credit check, which again will happen less than 10%, 5-10% of the time, because of that, they do have to pay the upfront install fee plus the monthly charge, which in this case, because it's a home phone and the 1 gig, it's that. So yeah, this customer will have to pay $156 again. But then you can also, so because this customer didn't pass the credit check, we can still do this. Again, it just goes on their second month. Normally, if they pass the credit check, which is 90% of the time, this would just be applied on their very first month of service. So for the people that pass the credit check, they will just have to pay the installation fee. So they'll have to pay like 80 bucks for the install after taxes, 81 bucks. Then we do have a gift card promotion right now. Usually there's something that Metronet gives. In this case, it's a $100 Amazon gift card. So just go ahead and give that to them as well. There's nothing else that we can really give. So this Tech Assure, this is just a mandatory fee. We can't get rid of this. So this is just basically, it's 13 bucks. What it is if something happens to the customer's router, Metronet's router, then Metronet will come back and fix that. Also, if the customer ever calls in and has any issues with their service, this is also for that. So that way they wouldn't have to pay like a service fee or a truck roll fee for someone to come out and help fix whatever issue they're dealing with. So but yeah, and then this install fee, we also cannot waive that. That's just mandatory. So cool. Well, hey, we have everything in there. So now what we would do is we would just go ahead and click submit. And then here, this is just for the home phone. This is only coming up because of the home phone. So we just check those boxes and then have the customer do a little signature there, click submit. This is just acknowledging that we can port over their home phone number and everything. And then lastly, or almost lastly, so we have the billing fee. This is just how the customer prefers to get their bill. Some old people really, really want to have a paper bill mailed to them, which is fine. It's just an extra $5 a month. So for the most part, for everybody, we just recommend doing online. Then there's no fee. And then once we have that in the system, looks like something failed. I wonder what it is. Not sure, but usually, again, because this is a test account, who knows what was happening there, but you can see it's tied to my name, so I get attribution for it. So once I hit submit, what would happen is it will send me to the very last page, which is where it will allow me to schedule. And I can have a separate video uploaded of an account where we're actually signing someone up throughout the entire process so that you guys know how to do it. But all it is, the last page is just where we can schedule the appointment, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Once we schedule the appointment, then we can hit, then we could go ahead and click submit, and then the account is done. So from start to finish, really, it's pretty dang quick. What I'll do, let me just show you guys. Well, you know what? Yeah, that's probably all you guys need to know. If you guys have more questions, talk to your manager, hop on a call with us. Streaming, don't worry about this. There's nothing streaming here. There's no TV. So really, again, a super easy way to do it. We just click, we put in their information, then click 1 gig, change this to the promo, and then again, go to miscellaneous. In this case, I'm going to uncheck the phone because this customer is not going to be getting a phone, let's just say. So now they're up here. Let me just hit submit and see if that changes anything to see if it goes through. If not, it's totally fine. But other than that, yeah, this customer is pretty much good to go. Sometimes you can see up here, it does load for a little bit. So it takes a second to actually process it. So it looks like, okay, it did go through. So all I had to do is take off the home phone in this case. But anyway, so here we have appointments. So we can select an appointment to get installed. So in this case, so today is the 28th of September. So luckily it's less than a week out. So I'm going to click that. You can look at the time slots that are available. So 8 to 10, perfect. That's the window in which they will show up. It doesn't necessarily mean they won't necessarily show up right at 8. It's going to be somewhere in this time slot that they show up. And then it says over here it's going to take 2.5 hours. It pretty much never takes that long. As a general rule of thumb, I recommend telling everybody about an hour on the outside, about an hour on the inside. And then lastly, just go ahead and click this, and I just always select it at the same day as the day that we selected. So other than that, you're pretty much good to go. You can see all you're going to have to do is click walk in again over here, because this is how we signed up. And then if they have any notes in the account, like prefers router in their office located in the middle of their house. So, or, if there's ever, or you could put like has sprinklers, whatever. I mean, if there's any notes that the technician should be aware of, I just put them in here. And then from there, process order, and you're good to go. So from start to finish, once you actually have this process down, it takes me less than 2 minutes, about 1.5 to 2 minutes to get it going from start to finish. So, and then in this case, because the customer didn't qualify, they didn't pass the credit check, they're in purple and everything. So in this case, the customer would have to pay up front. But in general, the customer wouldn't have to pay up front for anything except for the installation fee. And we wouldn't need to collect payment information unless they didn't pass the credit check, in which case we do collect the payment information and we do bill them right then and there, even prior to anything happening. If they do pass the credit check 90% of the time, this is going to show up in black, and the customer will not be charged, and we'll give them a free month, and they won't be charged anything until the installation fee, which normally will be within 1 to 3 days of install, but they won't be charged for the monthly amount. So cool, guys. Sorry, that's a lot of stuff. I know. It gets really easy once you've actually done this a number of times. It gets super easy where it literally will take you 2 minutes. But let us know if you guys have any other questions. All I do is process order, and that account is good to go. So thanks, guys. I'll make another one here soon.